Hello and welcome to my out-of-box impressions. I'm going to try to keep this to 5 minutes or less, so stay tuned for all of my thoughts. So this is my review bag. This is what I just kind of take with me wherever I go now in my backpack. And it has 4 compartments. My most expensive favorite, my $300 favorite currently, and my budget favorite. Really, I'd like 5 compartments so that I have like a $500 or $600 kind of place here. Maybe the Zen's Up would go there. Maybe the Clairvoyance, actually. But here in my last spot, I have the current thing that I'm kind of focusing on, and that is the Prism. So what I did was I compared the Prism with each of these things. I stuck each of these things in my ear and thought, where does this compare to my top picks? Let's forget all the other comparisons people might consider. Let's just go straight to like the good stuff. Should I wait to buy something more expensive? I'm already paying $600 for the Prisms, or $500 or $600. I can't remember. I may be off $100. Sorry. But should I just get the $1,000 Mark I Unique Melody MEST? Or should I spend less money and is the Mangird Tea actually? Because it's my top pick at $300 or less. If something is my best, like this is worth more than $300, some people say, maybe this is better than something at $5 or $6. Some meandery thing at $5 or $6. And I'll tell you right now, no, it's not. No, it's not. The Aria at $80, the Mangird Tea at about $300, give or take whatever amount, tens of dollars. Both of these, to my ear, are technically not as good. As soon as I go from either of these to the Prisms, which don't they just look beautiful, honestly? I think that Tanchjim has something really nice on their hands in terms of aesthetics. They know how to make something beautiful. I really wish other people would explore other materials like this. A lot of people are doing resins with like these, whether it's gold flakes, and these do look good. I mean, it's an easy way to probably encase all their materials with this kind of resin or composite, whatever material it is. And you can, they can inject whatever they want on this, what's called a face plate. And it's an easy way to make anything look good. It does look good. I'm not knocking it. But you get some, and even the $1,000 ones do the same kind of resin thing. Everybody does this resin thing, except this guy. He does something a little different. But the Tanchjim brand has this beautiful aesthetic of metal with an interesting faceplate with some kind of like, they're doing this thing where like it's like reflecting at 3 different angles. And their cables are different too. Everybody does this braided thing or very cheap other kind of cable. This is from Zen's Up. And then you have Tanchjim here being like, I don't care what everybody does. I'm going to have this like single-sheathed, really nice little thin, soft, pliable, easy to wrap around. Fits so nicely in any compartment or travel case compared to everything else that just looks messy by comparison after you wrap it. And then the Oxygen, this is the little brother from the same company as Tanchjim's Prism, is also beautiful in its own way. A little more simple in its design, but you've got the same basic metal look. You've got the thin, pliable cable. Not as pretty, though, as what they do here. And it really is just a pretty difference. I'm not going to try to get into, like, this cable sounds more bright or warmer. I don't know about all that yet. I still have to do a lot of comparisons to see if cables matter. All right. I don't want to keep this too long, but let's just get right into, like, the sound. We talk about aesthetics, and we said a little bit how it sounds. It is better to me technically than the cheaper options that you can find. I have not found a cheaper option that to me sounds better technically. The Prism have a depth to them, a kind of like, I wouldn't say layering, but they physically, spatially sound like there's a little bit more of a 3-dimension, just a little bit, not a lot. It's not like putting on a Sennheiser HD800S open back headphone on your head with a big open ear space. It's just, I don't know if it's the open port that they marketed so much on their pictures, but it does come off as a little more open sounding to me, just a little bit. But it's enough that it actually adds a depth that you really do miss when you go to something else. Now, the difference for me in terms of taste and preference, and this might be what it is for you, that's, you might prefer one or the other, is tone. The Prism and the Tanchjim brand in general, including the Oxygens, tend to do a little warmer. That's just their style. They like warmer instead of brighter. And I guess that's just because you add a little bit of warmth and you get this kind of full sound quality. You feel like you're more immersed in things when you have like a little more low mids and bass going through. But I'm not so much a fan of that tone as much as I am with brighter signatures like the Unique Melody MEST. The MEST is still better to me than the Prism. Out-of-box impressions only so far, guys. opinions do change in time as I listen to things more. And you'll see that in my rankings list. So if I say today, and this is what I am saying today, that these are a strong A, a solid A rank, and they're better to me than these options here. That may be true today in my out-of-box impression, but in the future that may change. The Mangird Tea is a little brighter, which is something I normally would like, but I missed the technicals enough from the Prism that I can't honestly tell you that the tea is better for overall enjoyment, because the technicals just edge it out a little bit more, that while tonally I could have preferred the Mangird, and in some tracks I do actually, because certain instruments or vocals just go forward compared to other instruments just in a way that I like for that particular song. Prism generally is more pleasing to me to listen to, if I had to pick one of the two to listen right now anyway for an entire playlist. I'm going to go on a short vacation. I'm going to do a full review, but basically the Prism is good, but is it better than the ZenZup at the same price? Quickly, I'll say no. I think ZenZup is actually, because if it's a tribrid, it has much more texture in the instruments. The ZenZup really beats most things technically, but they're so warm tonally, so warm that some people just turn off to that and they don't really like it very much. And I was kind of in the same boat. The Prism may end up in the same graveyard for me. I don't know if that warmth is going to overwhelm me and I'm just going to want to be brightened up just a little bit and move back to my MEST or something else. But so far, it's a strong A. All right. Please like and subscribe. If you want to see more reviews or get a full demo review of these things compared, I will have something coming up. I've recorded all of these, and I've even taken my photo shoots on my mannequin head, and I'm totally ready to sit down after more listening to do a deep dive with sound demoing, showing you how all these sound. Hopefully help you make a better buyer's decision. All right, guys. See ya.